Yeah, so thank you all so much for joining us for Financial Fed Friday. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Facebook. Thank you for tuning in. So it's 10 a.m. We're going to go ahead and get
Yes.
So, as you know, this is Financial Fed Fridays. This is a webinar that we do every Friday morning at 10 a.m. and we broadcast simultaneously on Facebook. And what we're doing with this webinar is that we're just pulling back the curtains so that you can get an in-depth understanding of your federal benefits if you are a federal worker. We also address state and local employees as well. But more importantly, we're also giving you best retirement investment options. Now, if you're not on Facebook, and you can always have someone to register. If you want to spread the word about us, you can register to be live online with us from your computer at www.ritabrolandevents.com, where you can get on live with us. Welcome all of you who are just tuning in. Of course, we're on Facebook, and if you want to watch us from our live stream on Facebook, you can always do that, and you can find us on Facebook at Your AB Solutions. So that's how you can get us on Facebook. Now, the whole purpose of this series is just to help you understand your benefits, your money, your spending habits, and then what Rita and I want to do is just offer support and solutions that will enable you to reach your financial destination. And of course, as it says, I'm Darlene Jenkins, and my partner with her fascinator on today for the royal wedding,
Dr. Rita B. Rowland.
Dr. Rita B. Rowland, and we are from Affordable Benefit Solutions. So welcome, everyone. Of course, because we are talking to people from any number of career paths, federal employees, state employees, private industry employees, the presentation is going to be very generic in approach because we're covering a vast swath of employees. That's normally me, but that was Rita that time. But also, without having individual knowledge of each participant, those of you that are both on Facebook and online, we can't individualize this presentation. So please accept the information as general in context and apply what you feel fits your particular situation. However, if you want to get an individualized analysis, Rita and I are here to provide that with you. So the information that we're going to be going over today, excuse me, if you want to get a personalized presentation, contact us, and that's what we're here for, to offer solutions for you. So in May, the theme for this month is preparing your financial tree to bear fruit. We're pruning this financial tree, getting rid of, the bad seeds, the weeds, and planting seeds. So today, we're doing something a little different, right, Rita? You've muted yourself. Unmute yourself.
All righty. Yes, we're doing something different, you guys. This is called open mic. Instead of open mic night, this is open mic morning. We just kind of want to know what questions you may have about savings, budget, credit card, your credit score, retirement, estate planning that is stunting the growth of your money tree. What weeds are causing your tree not to grow instead of the seed. So today is all about you talking to us, asking us questions. Now, you can't necessarily, we can't hear you, but if you put it in the chat box, and if you're actually online, I am going to give you my, trying to think how if they're on the phone, they have a question, how would they could email us, right?
Yeah, you can email us. You can also text. I can give you my cell phone number. Text me your question if you're listening from your phone, and we'll get to your questions because we do have a caller on the phone. Thank you for calling in. So welcome all of you who just joined us. Jeannie, Dwayne, thank you so much. And we have someone, your name isn't showing up, but I see you're looking at us from your phone. Thank you. So please, yes, that's Samsung. So if you have questions, please write to us right now in the chat, in the Q&A, because we're here to help you. Rita and I, we, have an agenda of, hey, this is information that people should know, but this is your opportunity to say, hey, you know what? This is what I want to know about today. So it's open mic morning. Let's start chatting back and forth. Good morning, Pam. Thank you for joining us.
Come on, y'all. Come up with a question. And maybe it's not for you. Maybe it's a grandchild. Maybe it's a spouse and they have some concerns and you want to know an answer for it. Just, ask us the question. I did do a survey of some other people yesterday, but you guys are our priority. So what questions do you have? You guys are so shy.
Well, someone has a question. Pam just said good morning. That wasn't a question. Thank you, Pam. So if you have a question, I know you have something that's on your mind. Believe me, no question is too small or like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. I should know that. That's what we're here for. Any questions that you have, we would be more than happy to answer it. No question is too trivial to ask.
Nobody has a question? Now, come on. You show up. You guys are consistent. What do you want to know that we haven't covered so far? Comments, more information. Jeannie has a question.
So Jeannie says, this is related to a spouse. Do we have to have them on our medical policy before we retire? Rita, you want to take that one or you want me to answer it?
No, it doesn't matter. As long as she got the health insurance, so you can answer.
Yes. So, Jeannie, if you want your spouse on your health insurance in retirement, then yes, you need to add her before you retire. Otherwise, in retirement, it has to be a life-changing event. So you need to put her on before you retire.
But she can but even if you do it, but you can only do it during an open season. So other than, so let's say you want to add her in March, you can't add her in March unless it was a
life-changing event.
You can do it during open season. You can change from family to, you just have to have the insurance. So you don't have to necessarily add her before. As long as you have her, you can add her during an open season.
Yep.
Pam, so you have covered this, but I don't fully recall. CSRS Retirement Survivors Benefit. I understand that there is a percentage for 10 to 100%, but is this something you have to do when you are married? So you do not have to leave your spouse anything in retirement. However, if you cover the health insurance for your family, you want to leave them something. And many people leave when they have the health insurance, maybe about 10%. The smallest amount normally will cover health care. If there's no check for the government to take that premium, their health insurance could be in jeopardy. So if you're married, leave them something. And then what's so important, which I think is important for you guys to talk to us, Pam, look at the dynamics, because when we're retired is one way. But this is when the what ifs comes into play. What if you goes first? What does that look like for your spouse? And what if he goes first? What does it look like for you? So when you're planning for retirement, you really got to plan for the what ifs. When it happens, what happens? Because if you are CSRS and your husband maybe is a private industry of FERS, what happens for you when he passes away is totally different from what happens to him when you passes away. So it's really important, because you know you're not really clear. Feel free to reach out to us so that we can help you sit down, go over your number so you know what it looks like. Case in point, my stepmother is a CSRS employee. My dad was a private industry for years, and then he worked for the government like 13. When he passed away, if you can recall, that month in December of '08, we got both, my stepmother and him got both his retirement check from FERS, which was only like $500 something. He had a low paying job and he only had 13 years of service. But his Social Security check was like about $1,600. So that month, about $2,000 came in the house. My father died December the 26th, '08. January, nothing came. February, nothing came. In March, she got his 50% of his check. So she got $260 something. Because she's a CSRS employee, she did not qualify for his for his Social Security check. So Pam, it's really important that you sit down and make sure you understand all of the numbers so that as you plan to retire, you make sure you have the right plan in place and that you don't pick one that could have an impact on him that could leave each other not in a good position. The good thing, my parents had talked to me a few years prior to him retiring. So, we had some annuities, some life insurance, and some other things in place. But it's always important to have, because the what ifs is really what messes up most people.
Absolutely. And Rita, we have another question from Jeannie. Jeannie says, is there a requirement as far as how long before you leave the government to add a spouse to a medical policy? So no, there is not a length of time requirement to add a spouse to your medical policy before you leave the government. The length of time requirement applies to the employee in order for them to carry the health insurance into retirement. So the employee has to have and be enrolled in the medical insurance program for 5 years prior to retiring. So if you have been participating in you as the employee have been participating in the federal employee health benefits plan for at least 5 years prior to retirement, then you can carry it into retirement. And therefore, when you retire, you can, as Rita stated, during open season, you can add your spouse when you're in retirement. But if you don't want there to be a lapse in coverage, then you add them during the open season before you retire. So no, the length of time requirement is strictly for the federal employee. It doesn't apply to how soon you have to add the spouse to the health insurance benefits.
All right. Now, Ms. Tawana had a question. She said, what do you know about the 4 option changes to the through the OPM has sent to the Hill about restructuring the government retirement system going forward? So, Darlie, I know you talked about that. You can talk about that some more. And it's really important. And this is one of the things that I've been talking about for a while, is that we really have to begin to take our own retirement and our life in our own hands. We rely so much on outside or our jobs or the government. We're really showing us now that, we're on our own when it comes to preparing for our future. So help Tawana with some of the changes that's going on.
Okay, Tawana, that is a great question, and I'm glad you brought it up. So first, let's start with the retirement systems. I'm going to start with FERS. Tawana, I believe you're under the civil service system. So, but this is so very important. Under the FERS system, the first change that they are proposing to make, and because you all are getting guidance from OPM, and this has never happened before when they have proposed changes to the retirement systems. You never got anything from OPM. So that's a signal to me that this is more than likely going to be put into law. So the first change they're looking at proposing under FERS is that the FERS retirement contribution will be increased, and it's currently a 3-tier system under the FERS contribution. If you were hired before 2012, then you're paying 0.08%. If you were hired in 2013, you're paying 3.1%. If you were hired in 2014, you're paying 4.4% towards your FERS annuity. Under the proposed changes, everyone will be paying 7% towards their pension, their FERS annuity. So what does that mean? If you're currently paying 0.8%, you're going to be incrementally bumped up every year until you reach 7%. What they're looking at now, the whole purpose of these changes is to put more of the cost sharing on the employee. Okay, so it's shifting from the government paying it to the employee paying it, because they're trying to save the government money. So if you're paying 0.8%, then that means you have 6.2% that will be now coming out of your pay, going towards your retirement. And before you, if you all are on here under FERS, there is no grandfathering. It's every single FERS employee. So if you're already paying 4.4%, then you don't have as far to go, as well as the people that are paying 3.1%. But everyone is going to get bumped up to 7%. And they're not going to just, hey, today you're paying 0.8, and then next year you're paying 7%. It's going to be a percentage every year until you get to your 7%. So that's the first thing. The second thing also that applies to FERS in relation to the retirement is that they are proposing eliminating the FERS supplement. That's the check that you get, as you know, under the FERS retirement system. The minimum requirement age in terms of when you can retire, it depends on your date of birth, when that year is, once you meet your years of service eligibility, which is generally 30 years. That's what most employees are looking at, 30 years. Unless you came in when you're older, then it's 20 or either 5. However, if you retire, if you do your 30 years, you started your service early, and you meet the 30-year requirement, and let's say you're eligible to retire at age 57 under the FERS system. You go out at 57, then the government, because it's a 3-tier system and the second tier is Social Security, they give you a percentage of the amount you are supposed to receive from Social Security at age 62. So they give you this supplemental check, which is called the FERS supplemental check, until you're age 62, at which time it stops, and then you can apply for Social Security. Well, the new change says you can still retire at age 57, but you would no longer receive a supplemental check from the government to help replace your Social Security until you reach age 62. That means that if you retire, you're not going to get any money. And if you sit down with Rita and I, we can show you exactly what your FERS annuity is going to be. For most employees, it works out to be about a third of what you're making right now if you do the 30 years, roughly.
And the thing to also know that FERS employees don't have the cost of living to change. So basically from the day you retire from 57 to 62, and that's if you decide to take your Social Security early, and if you take it at that point, you're taking anywhere between a 25 and 30% cut. So this whole retirement planning for you is totally changed, which is why it's so important that you have a plan in place. So if you do decide, like, I cannot take this anymore at 57 or 58, that you have a plan in place to get you to that next tier, 62, or the next one at 66 or 67. Planning becomes so critical so that the old you doesn't have to continue to work, because you don't have it. I mean, to go from 100% income down to 40%, that's a big drop. And if you don't have like everything paid for and you living in a box, then it's real hard for many people to go from 100% income to 40 or 35%. Now, of course, you have your thrift saving, but to turn that on so soon could actually stop the growth one. And if you don't have the right amount, if you don't have it, the right option, you can basically stop it from growing, and inflation eats it up. So planning is very, very important.
And Rita, one other thing, I'm glad you mentioned about the cost of living, that FERS employees don't get the cost of living raise until age 62. So that brings me to the third adjustment that they're proposing. For FERS employees, there will be no more cost of living adjustments. You will never receive a COLA again. For civil service employees, you will receive a 0.5 point reduction. So what does that mean? So let's say based on the CPI, which is currently, and they're looking at changing how the cost of living adjustment is calculated. So currently it's changed to the CPI. So let's say that number was 3%. So the FERS employees, you're not getting anything. the civil service employees, instead of getting 3%, you would be getting 2.5%. Now, Alberto asks, how soon are these changes going to be taking place? It's going to start, if it's passed by Congress, which the president has said he wants the budget passed in August. So we'll know as soon as August, but it will take effect for fiscal year 2019, which starts October 1st. So it will be this year. So even if you say, okay, and then it's going to go to the high 5 average instead of the high 3 average as it currently is right now. Now, one of the things that I'm trying in reference to eliminating the first supplemental check, that Social Security piece that they supplement. Right now, I'm doing research and investigating if that's going to apply to people that are already retired and receiving it. Because from what I'm reading, when I read it, that was the impression that I got. It's going to stop. But I said, wait a minute, that can't possibly be the case, because that would wreak havoc on millions of people that are already, well, maybe not millions, but hundreds of thousands of employees that are already retired. So, Alberto, this is going to start, if it's enacted, October 1st and moving forward. Another major change that they're proposing is to the cost of your health insurance. So they're looking at all of, and Rita and I, we should do a presentation, a Fed Friday, on these changes. And we were really waiting to see, okay, are they going to be enacted or not? But as Rita stated, planning is crucial. You have to have a plan in place. Because as I said, if you're under FERS and you're going from 0.8% and they're incrementally bumping you up to 7%, if you're already on a tight budget, there's a lot of shifting you're going to have to do to make up for that change in your pay. So as far as the health insurance is going to go, they're looking at all of the health plans that are being offered. Now, this may not affect a lot of employees, but the cost sharing bit, again, is going to come into play, because currently right now, I don't know if many of you know, but the government pays about 2/3 of the cost of your health insurance. That's going to go to 50%. You paying 50 and they're paying 50. So again, that's going to be more money coming out of your pay. So that's what I have.
So are there any more questions because there's a few people on Facebook, and I know once I took a survey yesterday of some of my friends and church members, and they had some concerns that, things that may be stunting their tree. And one of the most common things, Darlene, that I got was about saving. Of course, a lot of my church family was like, making sure tithing was first and giving was first. But when you think about it, one of the things that stunt our growth is that there are no seeds planted in the ground. And when we think about seeds, this tree is blooming. You saw that tree full of money. Well, it can't grow if we haven't planted anything. And one of the things I talked to Darlene about, I don't know if I was just talking to you, Darlene, or if I said it in a workshop, is that we're constantly trying to water something that we have not planted. So planting means that we got to put something away. And many of the things that people don't understand bank accounts. They have savings accounts, they have checking, but they don't really understand the dynamics and how you should use them both and how does it look. Now, for you just haven't known, of course, I see some people joining. I have on my fascinator because I am in preparation for the royal wedding tomorrow. So I'm getting prepared. And just excuse me if one of the feathers fall. I've had it for years and it's dry rotting. So things was fuller. So let's talk about some other things. Hello, Facebook.
I wasn't invited. That's why I don't have a fascinator.
Wedding, so she doesn't have on her fascinator. So we think about savings. And so let's look about the basic banking account. So you think of a basic banking account. It's where you have your liquid cash on hand. You should not have more than 4 to 6 months in an account. And this account needs to be an account that has no restrictions. Mean you can go withdraw the money out without any penalty. This is money you can be able to get to really, really quick. And I have some friends online that work at the FDIC, and so it's insured to up to $250,000. I'm always still skeptical about that, but we're going to say, according to the written word, up to $250,000, meaning that if the bank goes under or somebody robs the bank, your money that's in that account is actually safe. Now, the issue I would have is that I have a client, and me and him fight all the time. He has about $400,000 in a bank account. Every account is earning, I think he had 3 accounts. They're earning less than 1%. One of them was earning 0.5, one was earning 0.04, and the other one, I think he had the higher amount, 0.75. Like, why would you have that much money in an account that the inflation rate is 3-4 times that 10? That doesn't make sense. So that's the basic banking account. It should be liquid. So let's look at the types of account. Darlene, you can click that for me. Mm-hmm. Hello, Marcia, Tangi, Wanda, all watching online. So there's some types of account is savings. There's a traditional savings account that's offered at most banks. So that's just your savings account. And I looked at the interest rate, and they were all between 0.01 and 0.03. And I know some of you looked at your savings account and you're like, you got all this money in there. You mean they just gave me 8 cents? Like, truly, you could have kept that at home and made that 8 cents, right? And there are credit union share savings. They offer some of the higher rates, and they normally have no money fees or low balances compared to banks. So next week, we're going to have a special guest on the line from Lafayette Credit Union. And I think that's so important for people like me who do not work for the government. There are many times a credit union is associated with an employer. If you work for the government, there are a lot of credit unions for you. If you work for like Giant, they have their own. But there are many people who want to belong to a credit union. You can. Or we have partnered up with Lafayette Federal Credit Union. Is a credit union in the Washington metropolitan area. And as long as you live in the area, and I don't think you need to live in the area, you don't have to belong to any employer to join it. He's going to come on next week and talk about some of the good things that they offer, that you now have credit union capacity without being a part of some employer. Now, of course, you have online savings or your money market accounts, and they actually yield a higher interest rate. Now, we think about savings. We're now going to go to the next type of account, which is where many people make the mistakes. And then let's talk about the savings. And most of them do not allow more than 6 withdrawals per month. And the interest rates are so low, and your money cannot even get close to the inflation rate. And even though statistics say that inflation is about 3.3, the real studies say it's about 4.4. So if your money is earning 0.04 interest, and your inflation is at 4.4, your money actually, our savings, you guys, is actually losing value. We think we're saving, but we're actually losing value as it relates to inflation. The average savings rate for 2018, this was when I did the study, was 0.01 to 0.03%. And part of that, too, is because we do so much, put it in today, take it out tomorrow. They can't trust that it's going to be in there. Now, When you get the actual comparison between a credit union and a bank, membership for the credit union is restricted to a membership based on religion, occupation, employer, or association, which is why the Lafayette Credit Union that we're going to have on next week is so important, because you don't have to be a part of no church, no occupation. If you live in a certain area, and Wanda, I will check for you because I know you're in Nashville, I will find out, can anybody be a part of it? Now, banks are open to anyone who can meet the deposit requirement. Organizing principles, service, rates, fees are geared towards member benefits. That's what I love about the credit union. Banks, everything is about profit and shareholders. So whether it's investments and your dividends, everything is about how do we create growth so that our shareholders can make money. You think about it. A bank gives you 0.0% interest on your money that they get to use and create massive wealth. But they make most of their money not off of your money, but off of the fees, your overdraft protection, your bounce check fees, ATM fees. They make billions of dollars, not off of your little bit of money, but off of the fees that's associated with it. Service and ATMs, most of the credit unions, they're all over. You can go to any credit union. I love Navy because I've been with Navy since the 90s. even before they were in the DC area, they had one, I think, on the base, and you could never get on the base or it was too hard. I could easily go to 7-Eleven, use my ATM card and not get charged a fee. So I had a company that I did network marketing with in the 90s. Wasn't it, Darlene, Ameriplan?
Yep, Ameriplan.
I put my residuals checks into that account forever. And I would have it go to Navy. And I always knew that I could go to the 7-Eleven, which was on every corner back in the day, put in that card and never be charged a fee. Where if you deal with a bank, the banks are going to hit you in the head. So the bank that you use in your bank, you could easily pay $4 to $6 just to get out $20. So that $20 actually costs you $24 or $26. That is major. Like you're paying 20% up front just for the $20 just in fees. And is deposit insured. So the credit union, $250,000 is actually insured by the National Credit Union Administration. And of course, on the banking side, $250,000 by the FDC. So that's the difference between the two. Then you have your checking account. Please know that your checking account should be just used as a flow-through account, in and out. You should not have, this is my client, he had $160,000 sitting in his checking account, not earning anything. It should be used to pay your bills online. So it's like a pay-through account. It come in, it go out. Your direct deposits of your paycheck and other income sources. So me and Darlene, we work for ourselves, or, you know, we may have network marketing. It's people on the line who are entrepreneurs. So that's where your money comes in. It needs to go into some account. It's where you write your checks out. I know checks are kind of old school, but Rita a little old school. I still like a little checkbook. So I still write checks. I still got my carvings, y'all, because I will forget to record it, but I'll use my carvings. And so you be able to write checks. Yes, I'm still old school. Leave me alone, you see. Don't mess with, look, I am royalty today, darling. I'm royalty. Okay.
I'm not saying anything.
Your look is everything. I know you. Okay, you can transfer to external accounts. So it's with your checking account. You're transferring to your kids in college. You're transferring, like I have a husband. Every now and then I got to send him an allowance so we can transfer to. So he don't spend it all, y'all. So we transfer to, and you may have an account with a brokerage account, your insurance. They have a lot of drafts where you're paying your bill. They can allow it to do those external transfer. Do not keep much in here as it normally earns no interest. So I'm not saying don't keep anything in there. Keep maybe 2 to 3 months, you know, in your account if you feel comfortable of your expenses, and maybe have 2 or 3 months in your savings account. So you got 4 to 6 months of liquid cash on hand at all times. That makes sense. But to have $70, $80, $100,000 into a savings account that's not earning anything, maybe not good. Now you also have some other accounts. You have CDs. Now CDs have this long-term savings, and I looked up the rates, you guys, and it's so disheartening. They have your money locked in anywhere from a month to 10 years. The interest rate is slight. When I say slightly higher, it may be 0.5% as opposed. And there's some of them, you look them up, there's a few all over them. Some of them pay you 1%, some were 1.1, but where's the bank? I'm not really sure, but you can do some research. But on average, the banks in our area, Bank of America, SunTrust, PNC, all those banks that are right here, Wells Fargo, all of the rates were very low. They have early withdrawal penalty. So they lock it up for 5 years. For you to get an early interest rate could cost you a whole lot more if you decide to withdraw it earlier. There are multiple types of CDs though, so you can see which one best suits you. And if you're not going to touch the money, you don't need the money, it may be better for you to put it in the CD. At least you can earn 0.04% more than you would. And of course, FDI insured, so there's no risk involved for any amounts over under $250,000. And so we're thinking about savings account. And so we just want you to know that, and next week we'll talk more about other types of, maybe Roth accounts, IRAs. We'll talk about, we're not a broker, so I cannot give you, I won't talk about the stock market, but I will go over the difference in the account just so you can understand it. And then of course we'll have our guest on. But my tip of the week for you is that you should use direct deposit option at your job or through your bank or credit union to send money to a savings without an ATM card attached, or transfer capability. So it means that You don't need to have money going into a savings account, but you have your ATM card, and all you got to do is go to your ATM card and withdraw it out, or is attached to your savings account online. It can be attached to it, but it shouldn't be an online feature where you can just go on and transfer the money. Make it an inconvenience for you to get your money. One thing about that account that I had with Ameriplan for years, it was in Preston National Bank in Texas, and it was a bank that was not in this area, and I had to fill out a form to request the money to make me get it. So it was really hard for me to get the money if I really need it. So if I'm in Macy's trying to buy them shoes that I didn't need, I didn't have time to wait to fax a form, wait for the money to come 2-3 days. I would have forgot all about the shoes. So make it an inconvenience. And of course, feel free to reach out to us, because Darlene and I, we do offer a 3% savings vehicle, and we just acquired another vehicle that may be good for people who are looking to maybe create some more retirement. It's not a very high rate, but it's at 4%, and the lowest rate is at 2%. It's not the best. Now, we have other vehicles that pay a whole lot more, and some of the folks on the line have those options. But if you're looking for a way to save some money and get in the habit, you guys, you just saw it. Now, this is people that work for the government. Your retirement is changing. Private industry people, you're watching, you're listening, you already know that you've been on your own all along. You've not been that was going to prepare for you. So it just makes, for me, you guys, I'm going to be 52 next month. It just make me ready to do something today so that my future self will thank me for it. The old Rita don't want to be saying, baby, you know you're on a fixed income, or you know you should have done that, or living in retirement, already old, already maybe dealing with some illness, also regretting what I didn't do when I was younger. So prepare for your old you like I am preparing for the old me. So we are a full service financial solutions firm, everything from retirement planning. If you're young on this phone and you're, in your 40s or below, or even some early 50s, there's some really good plans to help you have tax-free retirement where you're being your own banker. Talk to us. Some of you are in that age of you can retire. We can help you to roll over your funds from either your 401k, thrift savings, 403bs, estate planning. If you're married before, let's say you was married, your child, your husband was married, you don't want to disinherit your own children or your family because now you're married. You love your spouse. I love my spouse. My spouse loved me. But we both he had kids before me. I had some nieces and nephews. How we plan in this estate planning will dictate what happens to our assets when we leave. Insurances, please, you guys, we talked about it before. Disability, long-term care, please. GoFundMe is not an insurance policy. Hear me. GoFundMe is not an insurance policy. Let's make sure we put the proper plans in place and get our credit together. Get it together. Trust me, mine was a mess for a long time, and I talk about it to tell you the truth so you know. But now it is very, very good, and it's because I took time to make an effort to change how I save money, how I spend money, how I think about money, how I relate to money, and that my credit became why. It's an extension of who I am based on what they think. So planning is bringing your future into the present so you can do something about it now. Maybe you don't even know what to do. Don't let shame, don't let the fact that you messed up all those years, I don't know what to do, I'm trying to wait to get myself together before I come see you, Rita. No, come see me before, because I was a mess for years. So I know what a mess looks like. I know what it feels like, but I also know what it looks like on the other side, to be coming through, to see light at the end of the tunnel. At ABS, our job is to help change people's lives, and your lives are one of the lives that we want to help change. And so, Darlene, you could take it from here, even though I done talked all over it.
Oh, no, that is fine, Rita. That is fine. That was some good stuff. So in summary of everything that Rita just said, let us help you chart your course. And please make sure you come next week. We're going to have a representative on from Lafayette Credit Union. You don't want to miss that. He's going to be going over some great information about the credit union and the benefits that it offers. And Rita just went through some of that. We want to say we appreciate you so much for hanging in here with us. I know we went a little over today, but we had so much. We wanted to get to your questions and get you this information. So thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you back here next week at 10 a.m. And when you come, don't just bring one, bring 3 with you. And we will look forward to seeing you next week here on the Financial Fed Friday webinar. Everyone have a great weekend.
Yes, I will see you at the British wedding tomorrow.
Yes, look for Rita.
I'm going to have this on again tomorrow, y'all, because I only have one, okay? Just so you know, I'm going to the wedding tomorrow, just like you all are going from my computer.
Of our computers and our phones.
But I am going to be ready. I'm going to have some tea. I'm going to have my pinky up. And I don't know if this is for the AKA or for my tea, but needless to say, I'm going to be ready tomorrow. So you guys have a great weekend. Try to stay dry if you possibly can. The only way to stay dry is probably to stay in, but oh well. Yeah. So have a good weekend. We appreciate you so much.
Yes. Alberto have a royal weekend also. Alberto said have a royal weekend. So yes. Thank you.
Facebook, do you have any questions on Facebook? Anybody have questions? And Jewel, you are very welcome. She thanked us for answering her question. Wanda said, good info, thanks. And Tangi said, in my head, I'm Megan's maid of honor. I know that's right. She said she's her maid of honor. It is a big deal, you guys, you know, and then we start to think about it, you know, maybe their marriage will start to bring some change, not only in America. It ain't about color. It ain't about race. It's about really loving people and just having a relationship just because we love each other, not because we're a color of a skin, but just because of love. And, you know, maybe they can help to change something that people have this quote unquote, you know, that, so it's